Hello everyone and welcome to English 1-1. My name is Lily and today I'm gonna be talking about traveling and learning a second language. Needless to say, you don't have to be proficient nor advanced in a second language to be able to communicate. In fact, the basics will do. Now, on today's podcast, I would like to talk about the advantages that traveling brings to learning a second language, but not only about these benefits that of course are hard skills that are necessary, right, for boosting our own careers to get some scholarships abroad, etc. But I would also like to mention the deeper side of that is going to help you recognize or understand some soft skills that you didn't know maybe you had before you start traveling, right? So, once again, if we look at the advantages of the hard skills, which is boosting your language skill, boosting your vocabulary, of course, this is going to be one of the greatest advantage because you're going to be exposed to the language, to the culture, and in that way, it's going to be easier for you to assimilate the language and even to learn some colloquial expressions that local people use, and everything is just going to make much more sense for you. Now, one very common mistake that a lot of language learners make when they travel to the country where they speak their target language is that they tend, and I think this is a natural thing, a natural reaction, they tend to stay within the same community. I've seen, for example, in the US that Latin people are gonna remain in the same circle and never giving themselves the chance to actually expose themselves to the language or to the people who speak the language natively, right? So try to avoid this mistake when you travel. I know you might be afraid, but if you always stay there on your comfort zone and never dare to leave that zone, then of course there's not gonna make much sense if you travel to that foreign country and you never get to speak with the local people, right? So that again is the outside part, right, that help you gain this very important skill that a lot of people nowadays is trying to reach, right, a good level of English, to be able to communicate with people from different countries, not only countries like the US or England, but English is going to help you communicate with the world in general, right? Of course, if you are a language learner lover and you want to speak more than just two languages, of course, feel free and great. You're gonna do much better than others probably. Now, in moving to the other side, okay, and I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to put my ideas in order at the same time that I'm speaking also. And when we look at the deeper side of traveling, it's connected on how we learn about ourselves and recognize some soft skills that we didn't know we had. Traveling is going to help you to have a better understanding of the culture and traditions, and it's going to help you open your mind and empathize more with the others. And of course that is going to be connected because if you do not speak the language of your target country, it's going to be more difficult, and it probably can take you more time to understand these traditions, to understand this culture and how different they are, right? During these years working abroad and also living in different countries, I've got this great opportunity, this great chance to live in countries like the US, China, Russia, and for a little while in Spain as well. And guys, when I was living in the US, I was actually trying my best. I was quite young when I came there, and I remember one of my first jobs was working in the restaurant, and I became a good friend with the guys who were working in the kitchen, and those were all of them were native speakers. I came to Pennsylvania, which back at that time was one of the states where you will find mostly native speakers and not the Latin community, at least at that time, wasn't that big. I don't know if it has changed with the time. Maybe now you might find more Latin people in Pennsylvania. But at that time, it was me and some friends for university. So that exposure to the language, and to become friends with local people really gave me a wider or deeper view, because when we are raised in one place, we learn to see things in one direction. But when you come and you open yourself to others, you start to understand why they do things the way they do and say the things they say, right? So even though I was young, of course, and I was surprised by, for example, Americans' behavior, which is compared to at least to my young self, they were much more open and they were much more, I don't know, outgoing, compared to us, because maybe we were a little bit afraid, I guess, because of the language. But well, that was a great experience once again. And if I hadn't spoken English, I wouldn't be able to get to know and to have all the experiences I had, right? But at the same time, when you travel, you can also become more grounded, and you're gonna be like, why will I want to be more grounded? Why will I be desiring or willing to go through difficult situations or challenges? Well, guys, when you go through difficult situations, all right, you kind of learn to embrace the discomfort and maybe come out with solutions that you didn't even know that you were capable of making. Um, I gave a very random example on my previous podcast about some friends and I that we went to New Orleans. We faced a difficult situation, and the only way I had to let people know how I felt was in English, because that was the only way to communicate. That was an example. But if I go even farther back on time, my very first day in the US was actually one of the most challenging situations that I ever faced. I was only 19 and I arrived to the airport around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and the person who was supposed to pick me up wasn't there. It was, middle of the night. I didn't have a phone. There was no internet connection that I could have access to by that time. So what was the only thing that I could do is actually to approach people at the airport and ask for their phones. And luckily, I had the number written down on my notes, so I could call them and I could ask them to come and pick me up. But and now I say it and it's like, well, yeah, of course, easy. Just ask for a phone, make a call, and that's it. But when it's your very first time in a foreign country, and everything is new for you, it's not that easy. I think until that very moment, I wasn't really scared or anything like that because it was new. But at the same time, yes, it was very challenging, and I came up with a solution, or I don't know, my level of English wasn't that great at the time, but well, I managed to find a solution and do something that I probably wouldn't expect myself to do. And that was just the beginning, because I went through a series of challenges. I remember at that time, but everything for good. Every time I look back on time, I think I'm actually thankful that I went through all of those situations and I could learn all the things that I did. Now, and there is another benefit that a lot of people mention about traveling, which is that you become more creative and more problem solving. My personal experience, I don't know if I have become I have become more creative because um, I'm not that type of person probably. But another part of creativity is also solving problems, and I think this is in fact one characteristic that I could develop thanks to traveling. Because, for example, I've worked for several years for a cruise line, and I needed to deal with people from all nationalities. Guys, when I say all nationalities, is literally from all around the globe, from Africa, Asia, Europe, Asia, South America, everywhere in the world. Like, I will meet those people, and I had to, of course, deal with them. All right. So I think this having all these different points of views around me really helped me to understand better, right, the certain things, or even change a little bit my mentality on things that I had taken it for granted. So you know that we as human beings, we are shaped by experiences as well. So if we are shaped by experiences and we are exposed to experiences outside our comfort zone, of course, I think that definitely can help you to grow as a person. I don't know how much I grow. I don't know how different I will be if I hadn't have all those experiences. But something I can tell you is that it did help me a lot to become more empathic with other people, and to put myself on other people's shoes, because so many times it's so easy to judge people because they behave or say certain things. But what if you had raised in their country? What if you had been in their place? Wouldn't you actually behave or be in a similar way that they are? Well, that is just, I dropped that for you to give it a thought. This is just how I see it. And well, I know I've been mentioning, of course, differences, right? Different cultures, different countries, different people, different points of views. But if we put this all together and we remind ourselves that language is supposed to bring us together and not to make more differences. So that is actually the aspect of languages that I love, and this is one of the reasons why I keep, or at least try try to keep on learning new languages, is because I want to have a better understanding of other cultures and of other people. All right. So what we need to try to do is to bring all those differences together, put them in the same language. With nowadays, of course, is English. English is the language that is spoken by most of people in the world, and that is going to be your first tool, your first step towards getting to know more things and learning more about yourself. Because when you travel, of course, you, as I mentioned several times just now, is that you get to learn more about their cultures, but you're also the odd one, right? And you need to adapt. So you also learn more things about yourself. So look at that as a win-win, all right? So once again, to when we travel and we learn a second language, it does not only improve your skills, but it might also help you find better version of yourself, maybe, or a version that you didn't know it exists. All right. So, well, guys, if you have the chance to travel to a foreign country and communicate with people, I would just always advise you, get out of your comfort zone, uh, and get out of that mental barrier. Keep on opening and more opportunities for yourself. All right, so thank you very much, guys, for coming all the way to this point of the podcast. As you can see already, I run out of my background, which means I've been talking for too long. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I hope to see you the next time. Bye. See you.